What is good, everybody, and welcome to Fretsisters Presents Between Frets, a space where female musicians who play string instruments meet and discuss all things music. I'm Shorn Shorny, Sean Marshall, and I'm here with the rest of the founders of Fretsisters. We have Genny Jam, Karyn Smith, and Lacole Rose. How y'all doing?
Good. What's good?
Hey, good.
We have a very great show for you today. We all meeting because it's kind of like a round table. So I'm gonna explain this before we get started. While we doing this, we discuss major issues that female musicians are faced or going through during our journeys as musicians, or we can just meet and talk about gear or any other talking points that we want to discuss. It's kind of like our way of girl talk, for instance. Even though we're not together, we're on phone calls, and it's like a kind of like daily conversations whatsoever. So our major subject today is women in the music industry and all the standards and whatnot. So I'm gonna get started with the first part of that is like what is our expectations for female musicians, how we look or dress, etc., etc. So I'm gonna start with Genny.
Hey, what's up? This is Genny Jam. Well, I think the idea of a female musician, and I guess the way the world perceives a woman playing an instrument, especially a guitar, is a sexy thing. You have to look good. The public really gets down on female musicians in general, not just guitarists, but just female musicians in general. We have to always look good. We always have, we have to wear the right clothes. And if it's something revealing, if it's too revealing, we get knocked down. If it's not revealing and we look like a tomboy, then we get knocked down. So it's really hard when you're starting out to think about an image. It actually is good to have an image, but it's something that should be you, and you should feel comfortable in your skin to do it. But you do have to face those obstacles, I think, with image and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, Genny. This is Karyn Smith, guitarist as well. This world, especially here in the United States, it's a youth and weight obsessed industry.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a musician, if you're an actress, a model, or even in corporate America, women are held to a higher standard for appearance.
Mm-hmm.
So there are as a guitarist myself, you have to have an image that you're comfortable with, but it has to be youthful, and you have to be in shape, great makeup, nice hair. You have to be appealing. And but unlike a lot of men, they don't have to. They could be way overweight, but as long as they're good, they will be accepted over a woman that's overweight or older. Mm-hmm. So that's just a standard in the workplace as well.
It's like a double standard, right?
Yeah, it is.
So do you think that we have to use our vanity to be able to go further along in our career? Do you really think we have to use vanity for that?
I mean, I think that some people, or at least they think that. I think that some female musicians, maybe starting out or whatever, think that, oh, well, let me do something and show a little skin. Mm-hmm. And they get those likes or those views, we're just talking about today, not like 10 years ago, because it was a little different then. But like today, I think that's what sometimes they do. And then they might not have the skill. So they might be able to get out there. I think that's what perception is. But I guess it's like, yes, you do have to look good. I mean, it's just like being presentable at any job. But don't think that, oh, I have to show a little bit more skin in order to... Don't degrade yourself. Don't downgrade yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what we kind of want to let every starting musician, every female musician that wants to get out there every young one that wants to, get out there, is like, you don't have to degrade yourself, but yes, you do have to be presentable.
But on the flip side, that there are people who are natural, more sexy and dress more sexy than others. Yep. And they still have the skill, but they will be looked upon as, like they're just going into it for that. That's just naturally who they are. You know what I mean? So that's a different side of it. You still be you, but I mean, what if I want to wear the miniskirt? What if I want to just have a naturally sexual aura? That shouldn't be considered that you're asking for something. You just want the gig as well.
And you can, and that's I guess that's the thing that people get confused about. They're like, oh, well, if she dresses up like that, then she wants to be looked at like that. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, we as females love, that's the beauty of females. We are a thing of beauty. So yeah, we sometimes, we do want to look that good, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to respect. I mean, if you're doing it because you like to be like that, and you have the skill, then that's your confidence right there. If it doesn't, I would just keep pushing forward.
But you know what? Sex sells in this industry, in the videos.
That's true.
In the concerts. I know female musicians that dress jeans, t-shirts all the time. They get on stage and they have the bustier and they have the mini skirts and they got the high heels because they're told, hey, dress like this because you're eye candy, you're a great musician. But that's what the producers may ask for, or the production people. They want you to dress a certain way because it's an image. So that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
I think that for any advice, I think that we can still have a little sex appeal in our image, but we still got to keep it classy. Because we have to be like role models to younger children. And we don't want them to be very, oh, we dress so trashy and they want to do that too. Like I have a 7-year-old daughter and I tried to be an example for her. Like you can dress pretty and be able to be comfortable in your own skin, but I don't want to be like all trashy and stuff like that. But my advice, I think that we just keep it classy. Be a little sophisticated, have a little edge, have a little sex appeal in there. And also, if you are comfortable in your own skin, embrace it, because natural beauty, when it comes to, especially with the teenagers and the girls, I think natural beauty would also be like a great key in order to succeed in when it comes to how we look and how our image should be.
But let's look at the industry. Look at half the videos of women now. I'm not going to say if they sing or rap or play. Just look at most of the videos today. The way they're dressed. And it's just overly sexy. I'm just trying to be nice.
It's kind of been like that though.
But that's
like that for years.
Yes, yeah, and even more so now. It's just a little. Some of it's trashy.
Yeah,
I think it's more so now because of the social media. Now it's in our faces 24/7.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't go anywhere without seeing it. Like now you have people who make 100,000 millions a year just from Instagram and make just pose it on Instagram.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you have musicians, you have people posing on Instagram with instruments even play. It's just for the picture, but that's an image that's ingrained in these people's heads, younger or older. Like, oh my God, this is what I have to live up to.
Yep.
Right.
You know?
Right. And some women may feel, well, I have to dress this way if I want the job because look who's popular. So if that's popular, then I should dress like that if I want that gig. So it's tough. It's
I guess, and I guess the message that we should try to convey is that, I mean, I've seen some female musicians out there that look sexy and they don't dress sexy, but they are
they just give it off.
Yeah, they might wear a nice outfit or a nice shirt, even if it's just jeans and a t-shirt. It might just be a nice, like really nice on them, and they look sexy. So, you know, the message we want to convey is that, try to come up with that image with yourself, whether it's doing your hair purple or wearing some signature scarf or I don't know what or whatever. But you you could still be sexy without, and it's down to the skill too, the skill where that can make you sexy. You don't have to wear low cut stuff. You can wear a shirt that covers your arms and, you know, your top part and still look sexy. I mean,
right. There's a lady, I don't know her name. Mm-hmm. She's very famous on Instagram. I don't know her name, but she dresses very downgraded, homely. Like, and then when she got people say, "Oh my goodness, what is she gonna do?" She blazes. For 2 seconds, you forget what she looks like. Like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean? Like, the skill will definitely overtake the looks. I mean, of course, the looks is what you lead with. If you have the skill behind it, they don't care if you come in a paper sack or a burlap sack or whatever, flannel. If you're killing, you're killing.
Yeah.
You know? But you know what, ladies? Look at all the award shows and look at all the women and what they're wearing at the award shows. Now, you take a young lady watching these award shows and saying, look what they're wearing. And they're getting all these trophies. And that's in your head. Oh, if I want to be like that, they're great. But look what they're wearing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all in hopefully part of your family, your support system. We could take that example anywhere else, you know, but it starts at home. So hopefully they're getting nurtured by their mom or their parents or their big sister or brother or something, like, you know what I mean? So, or people like us. I understand that, but it's like, that's the thing, is that you always are going to have somebody that's going to ruin it for the for us.
But
you know what I mean? It's like, why are you doing that? Don't do that.
Yeah, that's the flip side of it. You know what I mean? Like Jenny's saying, you have to have that willpower, and that comes within you. There are adults who come in this and totally change themselves for the industry.
Sure.
You know, these are not just young kids. So, I mean, people know who they can pick over. If you come in there like, I'm not doing that, I'm not coming here for that. It was like, okay, well, this is Genny Jam, this is Lacole, this is Karyn, this is Shorn. They're serious. I can't manipulate them, but they can play.
But this is the thing. There are A-list. If you go to a production company, you're going to play for a big A-list person. They're in your contract. You're going to have to sign. You will wear the makeup they want you to wear. You will wear the costumes they want you to wear.
If you want the job, sign that though.
Yeah, it's up to the person. Mm-hmm.
But it's up to you now. Do you want to play with this big A-list person, or you want to go home?
So it comes down to integrity for me. If there's something in that contract that I know I'm not going to go out mini skirt and fishnets every night, that's fine. But if I can go to a local gig, or I can tour locally and still play and keep my integrity and my dignity intact, I would do that instead. That's just
I think, but the percentage of people that would turn a big gig tour down are probably a small percentage. Most people say, I'll wear that makeup. I'll wear that. I'm saying the people, they're impressionable. They'll say, you know what? I'm going on tour with this big star for a year. I'm going to be a star. They're going to do it instead of, well, you know what? I can just play the bar scene. There are a few that may do that, but more than not, person will sign that contract. Give me that outfit. I'm going on tour. I'm playing the Super Bowl. I'm playing all the big stadiums. I'm making all this great money. I've made it.
But when you think about that, Karyn, I mean, that's few and far between. Even if the contract does say this, kind of nowadays, unless it's with certain artists, it's really not that outlandish.
Well, not really outlandish, but I've had contracts like that. The difference is, say you're working in you're off Broadway or Broadway, or you're in the orchestra. You notice the cellist, violinist, they wear just, they're dressed down pretty mellow, nothing too provocative, because that's different. That's a different image. You're in the orchestra. Now, when you play in the theater, you're a pit musician. They tell you what to wear. They give you a wardrobe, but it's not provocative. You're not really seen by the audience. But when you're on stage with these big stars that are really sexy, they want you to look, women, they want you to stand out. Men can wear jeans and a t-shirt, but women usually have to, kind of be kind of sexy. And that's what I see on television. Again, and that's what I think.
That depends on the artist. Like, there are big artists who do that, but if you're with, say, a major rapper or something, you might have to go up there and twerk in your underwear. But if there's another big artist that's not in that particular genre, you may have to show a midriff. I mean, but that's not going to tip the scales. Like, oh my goodness, she's giving her soul to this. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm speaking of
anymore.
Well, the majority of the videos that I see now with certain genres of music, oh yeah, women are exploited. And I'm not going to say what genre, but you can just look at a few videos and you go, wow, the twerking and the clothing and that's.
I mean, it's been like that. Like if you think of like back in the 80s, bands when like those hair bands and the female bands were coming out, and I mean, just one example is Heart. When you think about, they came out in the 70s to the 80s, and then they changed their image, and it was all about the guitar player. They focused on her because the other singer was gaining weight. This is a perfect example of the industry, if you're talking about the industry. And I mean, there's articles about that. The Wilson sisters talk about that. And and so they focused on the guitarist because she was thin, and she had the guitar, and they stuck her hair out. You know what I mean? So it was record company stuff. They didn't like it, but they went through it, but they didn't like it. But now look at them now. They're still, they fought through that. And so it's just another thing with what we're talking about. You get those, yes, you're going to get those jobs, or those jobs might come down where an artist is like, you got to dress a certain way. And like Lacole said, it's your integrity, or if you want the job, I mean, it's like any job, if you're going to take it, right? So it's up to you. You can take it, or you can give it to somebody else.
But I think somebody mentioned skill, so this is going to be like the next point we need to talk about.
Okay.
Like our skill as a female musician versus the male expectation of what they think the skill in quotes is. Like, what do you think the male expectation of what skill is, and what's the difference between that and our particular skill?
Oh wow, like I have examples, like I say, of where you can go to a jam or a shed or do whatever, and a female walks up, they don't expect you to do more than a few open chords. You know what I mean? And then when you actually do more than that, their eyes open. It's like, oh my goodness, you can actually play. So they don't expect you to go up there and kill like the guy who just stepped down. That's not what the guy can go up there and not get questions. Like, okay, you can go up, you can go, oh, you want to play? You sure? You sure you want to get up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it seems like it's more of a wow factor when you're looking at somebody that's going up there, a female that's going up there, she plays. You think, oh, she can't play, and then she blazes, right? And then it's a wow factor. You're like, oh wow, she's really good. But nobody would say that if a guy went up there. Nobody would even be questioning anything, and there wouldn't be a wow factor because it's expected that a guy would sound good.
Sure.
Which kind of sucks because it's happening now to this day. Sure. Where back then, of course, back then it was like the female musicians were far and few, or you didn't really know much about it. Where now it's like today you're seeing a lot more female musicians being recognized, at least. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
But it's still the same type of disrespect and the kind of the same thinking that somebody would still be thinking, can she play? Why are you even asking that? Like, really?
Right. There were girl bands, a lot of girl bands back in the 80s. You had in the 70s, you had Fanny, you had the Go-Go's.
The Go-Go's.
Girl bands, and they really could play. But the first thing you will hear is like, wow, they're beautiful. That's the first thing you'll hear is they're pretty before that they really sound good. So it's first. It's, oh, they're really hot. They're pretty. Oh, the Go-Go's, I like their music. They're really cute. And so, that's it's just, it is what it is. And
but do y'all think the skill ever supersedes the look? I mean, I think at some point it does, but how long do you think that actually takes for that to happen? That the skill supersedes how you look when you walk in. Like where it's not questioned, oh, here comes Karyn, Genny, Shorn, Lacole. Oh, I know they can play, they're fine. You can go in there however you want to dress. That's not the first thing that's spoken of. She can play.
Well, today with social media, if you're going to do an audition, it's not like maybe say 15 years ago. you'd have to go to the studio to audition, and that would be the first time they see you and hear you. That's different. Today, you have to send a video, so they already know you could play before they meet you. So it's a little different. They know you can blaze from your videos. You watch Genny Jam's videos, they're gonna hire her. They already see her on the social media, her Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. So she's already
so
get the job.
Before that, when it did happen. So now we have social media. Say when you mentioned the Go-Go's, you mentioned the 90s and early 2000s when it wasn't social media. When did that scale tip, do you think, since you all were back there playing during that time, gigging and touring?
Well, no, I wasn't playing. Well, no, I wasn't playing like the Go-Go's. I think they were the 80s. But, I would watch the girl bands. There was plenty of women bands, they were great from rock to pop, blues, great guitarist. But
Taste of Honey was one that came to mind.
They were few.
Oh, Taste of Honey, yeah.
Taste of Honey. They were 1977, I believe.
Yeah.
Their hit, Boogie Oogie Oogie. So we had Heart, and the Go-Go's. I mentioned them. There was a couple other bands. I can't remember the names of them, but Tracy Chapman. I think she was like the early 90s. Sheryl Crow from the Michael Jackson she went on. Bonnie Raitt.
That's right. Bonnie Raitt.
She got
Bonnie Raitt is just.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she started a little older, but she always spoke about, how she got the respect. She sat down and it's like, oh, this girl can play.
Oh,
that's what I mean.
Goodness.
Like, when did that click? If I mean, like, when did that?
I think it's just you have to make, as a female musician, eventually you'll have to make your mark, whether it's national or locally. So like we know when Karyn Smith walks in, she's from New York, she's from South Carolina, she's from, Mid-Atlantic. People know who Karyn Smith is. So she walks in, it's like, she's already made her mark, where it might be a little different for somebody just starting out. So you just have to expose yourself. Keep exposing yourself, and then people be like, I know who you are. Like, people come up to you like they do that to me, like, I've seen your videos, you know what I mean? Like, people I don't even know. So then once you get that, and it seems like maybe this time now than back then is what you were talking about, Lacole. Back then, the respect was a little harder to get, and the making your mark was a little harder to get. Right. But now this time, I think that with the younger generation coming out and really going forward, like really going in, like making their mark, and like women making stuff. What am I trying to say? Women making a mark in any industry, that now people are used to that it's like, it's easier to respect. It's like, oh yeah, once you see them, you're like, oh yeah, even a guy will be like, oh yeah, man, she kills on that. She kills on keys, she kills on bass, like that. So I think the respect levels is a little quicker than it was back then.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Out of California,
I think it leads. Oh, I think it might lead. It leads to the next point of it, like working twice as hard and harder than male musicians to get respect. And I think someone mentioned about getting the respect. So I think that will lead to this next point of it, like, how much work do we need as female musicians in order to get that same respect as a male musician?
In my opinion, you have to have the exact same skill. The difference is, with this country, it's appearance and image with women, and it's at a higher standard than expected of men. That's the only difference. You could play just as good as a male counterpart, a guitarist, but you have to be able to play. But you can't be 350 pounds and not sexy and not attractive and not well dressed. They're gonna take the guy in the flip flops and that's extremely heavy, And I'm not really getting on.
In the flip
I'm not. Why I say about weight, because it's really hard. They're really hard on women as that are really obese.
But you're talking truth. You're talking truth.
Yeah, true.
It's all about how you look, and it's how you look. Not only your figure, but your face, your hair. Are you appealing? Are you marketable? Are you eye candy? Can you sell? You could be just as good as the other guy, but he doesn't have to work as hard as far as his image, because men dominate the industry, so they'll take the guy. Of course, there's 100 to 1 probably men guitarists to women that are famous and have been famous for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that I heard you said being looked over for male counterparts. So that would lead to my next point. Did any of y'all have any experience of being looked over for male counterparts while gigging or touring, or within your career? Did y'all have any experience doing that?
I did. I believe I did. But it was an age thing, and that's another thing with the youth. We're youth obsessed.
Ageism, definitely.
Ageism.
Mm-hmm.
You go for a gig. Now, I went for a gig, and it was for a woman that was really young. It was a rock band. It was an all-girl band out of New York City. And I knew I was much older, but a friend of mine said, just go for it. And I got the gig. But it was an all-girl band. There was another band I was going to audition for, and he was like, how old are you? If you were over 30, they didn't want you. They didn't care how great you are. They wanted someone 18 to 24. So if you're 30 years old, you're already out the picture. But if the guy was 30 and looked young, they would take him. So that was the thing with age. They didn't care what you looked like. They just said, well, how old are you? No. You got to be 20.
But would that apply to a guy though? If a guy was 40, would they have asked? I mean, would that apply to them too?
What I do read about guys, they'll say they don't want any males bald. No, if he was over 40, that was too high. I'm saying 18 to 24. But if he was 30 and he looked like he was 24 and he had all his hair, they would take him, because a man, they could sell that. But if a woman's over that age, too far over, they'll take the guy. That's what I've experienced that at least once.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I've seen posts with well-known female musicians and male musicians who are over 40 themselves, and they say, anyone over 30 in my band. I'm like, how are you doing this, ma'am and sir, and you're pushing 50?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Right. You know what? Matter of fact, there was an artist that I auditioned for, and it was other male musicians, and we were all of a particular age. And she was the same age, but what she didn't put in the ad was, I want younger people, because she walked in and everybody was, let's just say, 30 and over, and she wanted people in their 20s, and she was at least 35, but that was what she wanted. So the next time she posted it, she put 18 to 25, and we all went, oh, okay, if you're over 25, that's not what that was. And this was a woman guitarist singing. And and I didn't get that gig because she wanted young people, like teenagers, early 20s. If you're over 30, women do it to women. So it's not.
That's what was hurtful to me. It's like, you're a female musician, you're 40, 45, 50, and you play guitar, bass, whatever you play, but you want the people behind you to be 18 to 24.
Yes.
And it's like, but you are that person where if you weren't that famous, you would want that job. Why not reach back and say, hey, I got counterparts my age. Even if they don't fit the bill, at least give them a chance.
But sometimes, sometimes it's maybe their management or who's pushing them and say, listen, we want a younger look. We want this look. And that's good. And they'll go and hire, maybe not.
I guess to attract a certain audience.
Right. There's a demographic also. So they want to get the young pop audience that are teenagers to, college, 20, 22. Then they want a young band. They don't want older people. And that, you'll see that, look at some videos and you'll see even the younger artists. I'm not mentioning any of the A-list artists. Look at their band.
Yeah.
The majority of their band is around their age, or they're young, because they're trying to attract younger people, because younger people are the ones that go to the concerts and they buy the music. Older people will go sometimes, maybe buy some of the music. So they're trying to push for the people that support them the most. And the demographic is younger. That's what it is.
It depends on the genre, but Go ahead, Jenny.
Oh, well, I was just going to say the question about a male guitarist, or not a male guitarist, but a male musician taking the job over a female musician, right? Is that was the bullet point?
Yes.
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 Now that if you think about it nowadays, like you were talking, like Karyn, you were talking about the younger audience, like grabbing that person, grabbing a certain person of a certain age to grab the younger audience, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I think that kind of applies kind of now with the female, because I think that more artists are hiring female musicians to be there, and they will hire over a guy, and those female musicians can play. Like, it's not like how it was back then. I'm sorry, back then a lot of those females would be behind there and they couldn't play. They just be there for the look. But now you're able to hire a female musician and they can play, and they will choose you over a guy. But again, you might have to be younger. You might have to have, you have to be younger.
Right. But because it's more diversity. You watch any of the TV shows at night, and the people and the women that play guitar or bass or horn on the TV shows, you'll see one or two women in the band, but you'll see more men in the band. But they'll have one or two. And you just look at the late night shows. There's always one woman playing either the drums, the horn, the keyboards, bass or guitar. It's more diverse now. And I would say I see that more in the last 10 years. More so than before. But there was I don't want to say the token one, but in big bands or popular bands, they'll have one female. Everybody go, wow, look, he's got one female on bass. Say the Talking Heads or Prince or Michael Jackson, they'll have one horn player. Or one bass player or one drummer or one keyboard player to show diversity. And so more bands, even rock bands, they'll have maybe one or two. Not a whole all women's band. Very seldom you see all women's band.
So I mean, as a young artist or a young musician starting out, you definitely have the advantage right now. Like if you want to pursue something like that, you do have the advantage. I think, unfortunately, I think the older you get, though, to get those type of opportunities might be a little bit
lessons for sure.
Yes, it does.
Lessons. But but it really just depends, on how you made your mark in the industry, locally or nationally. I mean, you still could be getting those gigs. Like there are some women out there that are still hired to back up artists that are a little older, just because they have the clout,
the experience.
The experience.
And as someone who's getting into this later in life than, the 20s and early 30s, getting into this later, I don't know if it's the musician or artist in me or just a lover. I've always been to concerts and shows, things of that nature. My first thought was never, oh, look how young they look, look how old they look. Can they play? That was always my first thought. Like, who is that killing on the guitar? Who's that killing on the drums? Who is that? And I look at, no, they're trash. They're 50. That never popped in my head. It was like, oh, they're just a good musician. It's just odd to me, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, it will lead to our last point of what we're discussing. Like, did anyone have experience of being hassled?
Oh, wow.
What do you mean by hassled by in a band?
Your male counterparts or?
Kind of like that, but do you have as a female musician, have you ever been hassled by a male musician within the band, or?
You mean disrespected?
The audience in general?
Yes, been disrespected. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. I've had a few of them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I went out on tour in the 90s, in the early to mid 90s, and I mean at that time, just because I speak of that experience because being a female musician was tough, and it was I got it from all sides. Not just can you play, but you suck, and just a lot of and body image and things that you have to live up to. People talking bad about you, or telling it to your face and laughing at you. I mean, those type of things happened back then. And then now it would just be like, yeah, sometimes there would be, somebody, a male musician. I'm not going to say any names, but there would be like recent stuff where there would be a male musician who would disrespect me, and I didn't even say hi to you. You know what I mean?
Recently?
And well, not recently, like maybe last year or something. So, but it's recently, right? but I would say that this was an older person. So I think some of the older, I'm thinking, this is just my way of thinking, that maybe some of the older generation of male musicians see it a little bit differently, because I guess they lived back in the 90s and performed where female musicians, they weren't, not that they weren't that good, but weren't credible. Yeah, they weren't credible back then.
And there's something I have to say about hassle. Has anybody been in a band with, you're the only female in the band, you're not married, you're single, you're around the same age as all the guys in the band, you're going to get rapped to. One of the guys or two of the guys, they're going to want to go out with you, they may want to sleep with you, they want to have a relationship with you because you're in the band. That
you can be married and that happens in band.
That happens a lot, but that happens a lot with young women. That like I said, single. You're single. You're in your 20s. You're single. You're not married, and guys are like, you know what? Let me, we're touring. Let me mess around with her. And so women get hassled because they're the only woman, and if she's single. Maybe if she's married too, but that happened to me when I was young and in the band, and you're like, oh gosh, you got to fight off the guys. You just want to go to rehearsal. You just want to get to the gig. Yeah. But, you're traveling with these guys, they're single and they want to hit on the keyboard player, the guitar player, and the lead singer, the flautist, whatever. And that's true. That's true with any band where it's just one woman and they're young and single. Guys are going to
So how do you deal with that and still keep your job?
Well, I mean, it does happen. It does happen in bands.
Wow.
But I'm talking about young women.
I have a experience on that situation.
Uh-oh.
And it's kind of weird because it happened at church.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, amen.
I'm not surprised.
Amen.
It was my first time coming out. I was actually playing for I was sitting in for a band for a church for one time, and it was the first time my first time gigging, and that's happened like a couple years back. And it was over, and I was breaking down my equipment, getting ready to put stuff in the car. This guy came up to me. He was saying, and the pickup line was lame. I was like,
what was it? Please, I gotta hear it.
He said, I see you there playing that guitar. Why don't you pluck the strings from my heart?
Yeah. Oh my God!
I was like, in my mind, I'm in church. Yes, that's what I said. I was like, I'm in church. I was like, that's the corniest line I ever heard.
But that's when you mentioned hassle. That's the other way of being hassled, is being approached that way. And you're trying, you're just trying to be a musician, and you're not interested, or you may have a significant other, a boyfriend, what have you, and you're going to get hit on. So you have to worry about that. Like, oh goodness, and you may lose your job if the music director or the leader of the band likes you, and you don't like him back.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, so that's the way of being hassled as well. Usually to young girls, young teenagers or young women.
But what Shorn dealt with, that's laughable. I would have, that is so corny. I would have laughed it off.
Wait,
I did laugh. The guy is old though.
What did this guy play?
Oh my goodness.
That's what I was saying. Because I was
sounds like a drummer. Sounds like a drummer.
Was it a drummer? Was it the bass player? Everybody always makes fun of the bass player.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the bass. It wasn't the player. It was like one of the guys was like sitting in the audience.
Oh my gosh!
Oh wow!
And I was like, really? Is that how you gonna be picking up the lines? Or you just came from the club early in the morning and you just show up to church trying to pick up women? That's what I was thinking.
He was thinking about you all service, Shorn. He was just drinking about you.
Oh Lord! I was just minding my own business. I was like, I have my kids. I'm sitting here just playing. But you showing up with corny pickup lines like that, I was just about to like, boy, you're lucky you at church because I will be cursing you out right now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But
yeah,
I mean,
it's
there's
tough.
that spectrum. There's that spectrum, and then there's one like Karyn said, where like if you say no, that's potentially you could be fired from a gig. You know what I mean? There are levels to it, so that's what I mean. It's pros for integrity and how you know how you carry yourself and how you want to be placed and what you want your name to be in this industry. Right. If you want your name to be like, okay, she can play, we're going to get her. She's not about the foolishness. But then if we get her, like she may come into my hotel room if I push her hard enough. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing is keeping confidence in your own skin and being, if you're young and attractive, but you are all about your passion and your work, you show that to your colleagues. Mm-hmm. And you get that respect from them. I mean, you just have to do that. I mean, that's the thing that you just got to learn through life, is because you're always going to be harassed or anything like that. So if you have that confidence in yourself, you can go out there and dress real sexy and get the respect from your male counterparts to know that this is who you are, but you're not like that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's true. I mean, I have a lot of I have a lot of male guitarist friends around this area, and they all respect me. Like I'll hang out with them or, whatever, but they don't try to pick me up. They don't try to give me those lines because they respect me, because the way I talk to them about gear, I'm like a tomboy to them, you know what I mean? So, and I don't try to like be like, oh, hey baby, like I don't do that stuff.
You have to carry yourself business. It's everything's about business.
Everything's about business. Yep.
Right. And if you start playing around and joking around and going out drinking with the guys or hanging out, you're opening yourself up.
Yep, that's
about
Karyn.
Rehearsal. Go to rehearsal, learn your music, go home.
Mm-hmm.
That's
like this. It doesn't even have to be like they say, I'm late in this, I'm starting this, I'm making connections, I'm networking, I'm meeting people. So I can tell you this particular person, I'm gonna say his name, but he's very well known. And we were just talking. I was just talking, just networking with the guy, not trying to hook up or anything. And then one day, this person said, let's FaceTime, let's talk, which we've done before. So I do that, and he pops up, and he's naked. Wow. I'm so sorry. And yes, he's a very known person, and he's naked, and he's, with himself. And I paused for a second because I was like so shocked. I paused for it had to be a minute. And I'm like, what are you doing? He was like, oh, this is not cool for you. So I just hung up. And then he started texting me, oh, I apologize, I read the signs wrong. I'm like, no, you didn't. It's like I'm just starting out in this. You thought that would be okay to do with me because I'm not known enough. It's disrespect. He apologized profusely, but after that, it's like, I don't want anything to do with you because this is what you think of me here. He's like, okay, well, maybe I can teach you something. We can meet up and we can jam. I can get you.
No.
Why would I want to do that now?
Yeah, right? Ever since that happened.
Yeah. Definitely. He was trying to pick you up. Wasn't concerned about you playing guitar. He wants to pick you up, and then the guitar playing is later. But once he picks you up,
but that's not how you. I mean, that was so. I felt so violated from that. You have no idea.
Right.
So, but this is a person that that everyone uplifts. This is the person that's great. Oh, you have to get with this person, and this person's played with everyone. He's done all this, and this happens. It's you sort of get jaded. Your skin gets thicker, of course, automatically. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to put that on everyone else. Which is another thing. You can get jaded from all this stuff kind of happening.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, but that's common. I mean, now we have phones to do FaceTime, but years ago, they would try to get you in the studio or, hey, go out to dinner with me, or let's go out and have drinks or something like that. Next thing you know, it could be a bad situation. Mm-hmm. So I would tell any young girls, have your parents take you and pick you up from rehearsal. Or if you're not in a relationship, definitely have a sibling or a friend be with you, because you never know. There's a lot of bad things that happen to young girls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
And so you have to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Parents with teenagers, take your kids to go to their gigs, pick them up, make sure they get home safe, because there's so many, and not just the band, it could be someone in the audience. So you have to really, as a young woman, you really have to be careful, because you're out late. A lot of gigs are till midnight, late at night. Now you're going to catch an Uber, or you're going to be driving home. You're alone. So, and it's late at night. People are drinking. So I just, my advice, tell any young woman, always have somebody with you. If it's not a family member or a friend, don't go, have an Uber, be safe, know that you're going to go home, someone's going to be there. It's just dangerous out there,
Yeah, but like 9 times out of 10, there is going to be a guy in the group that you're cool with. He may walk you to your car, make sure that you're okay,
Right. I even do that now. The band, they'll help me with my equipment if I'm carrying like an amp, a small amp or stuff, and they'll walk me to my car. And all the bands that I'm in, they'll say, "Text us when you get home. We want to make sure you're home safe." And we all make sure that we're home safe. And but they're respectful. Anyone I'm playing with. And they all ask, "Hey, did you get home safe? How you? Okay, great gig tonight." And they really care, and they're not trying to go out with you. But I'm not talking about established bands, but younger bands or people you don't know. You really don't know them, and so you just have to be careful.
That's in everyday life. Just watch, know your surroundings.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. I would like to thank the founders of Fretsisters, Genny Jam, Karyn Smith, and Lacole Rose for joining us on this roundtable episode. Because this is very touchy stuff, and I learned a lot on this episode.
Me too.
So make sure.
Sorry, I was just like, I learned about Shorn and a new line that I've never heard before.
I'm going to use that. Monday, I'm going to use it.
I would like to thank them for having us on the show. Make sure you follow them on social media. Anybody have any social media that you'd like to have them to follow you on or anything?
At Lacole Music.
And mine's Genny Jam with a G, GENNYJAM.
Karyn?
Yeah.
Not yet. I'm still working on some music. I'm actually a session player, so I play with a lot of different artists. So you would have to go to that band name. Next roundtable, I have to ask the bands first. But I play with I'm a session player. I play with so many different people. Cover bands, corporate bands, boy bands. So,
here, we'll share Karyn's stuff for her. So
right?
Okay.
Make sure you follow our Instagram. Make sure you follow our Instagram, Fretsisters, and like us on our Facebook, Fretsisters 1, to catch up all the tea that we are doing behind the scenes or upcoming episodes of this podcast. Actually, we're just going to spill the tea here and there. Until next time, everyone, thank you for joining with us for Between Fret. I'm Shorn Shorny, Sean Marshall, and you have a good day.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Talk soon.
Bye.
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 Bye.